All right, man. I want to tell you guys a story about this girl named Olga, Princess Olga of Kiev. She was, I'm trying to remember which year, 920 maybe, something like that. It was a while ago, obviously. So this this princess, her husband, um, he inherited his kingdom, and obviously it was Kiev, but she was of Viking blood. She was she was ruthless, as you'll come to see. But as somebody else who has some Viking blood in me, thank you, 23andMe. I just thought this was fucking badass. So she, her husband inherits this kingdom, right? And so he has not tributaries. He has what would you call these people? People who would pay him tribute. I'm not sure if tributary is the right word, but people would pay him tribute. So he goes off to collect his tribute, right, from his kingdom, and he goes out to this place, and the people were called the Drevlonians, Drevlonians, I believe. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. And he collects his tribute, and on the way back, apparently he is thinking to himself, "This isn't enough. I'm not happy with this for whatever reason. I don't remember, or I don't know exactly what it was." So he says, "You know what? I'm going to go back and make this right. I'm going to get more." So I guess he leaves his household, or he leaves majority of like his military stuff like that. He takes just his personal guard, and he goes back to the Drevlonians, and he says, "Hey, this isn't going to work. You know, I'm your new king, and you owe me more." And they said, "Fuck you. You know, you're a bitch. You just became king. Basically, if there's any other time where you could possibly be weaker, this is it." You know what I mean? So they capture him, and they decide they're going to do away with him. And what they do is they actually take him. They take these two trees, big trees, and I guess they, from what I understand, they tie them down to the ground, right? So you imagine you got a tree standing up, and you put like a rope around it up here, and you tilt it, and then you tie that bitch to the ground, right? So there's tons of tension. The second you let go of that tree, it's going to do this, right? Well, I guess they do it with two trees that are pretty much side by side. And they tie them in a way, they bring them down, and they tie them in a way to where they're going to go in opposite directions. And then they tie fucking homeboy Mr. King to these trees. And they chop the rope, and yeah, he gets fucking dismembered, right? So Olga finds out about this. Obviously, she's not pleased. You know, well, the king of the Drevlonians now, or I guess who'd be the king leader, whatever you want to call it. He decides this is his time. He is going to submit a request to Olga to marry her, right? To be the king. Now, if he can marry the queen, that's going to put him in a position where he's now the most powerful person in the realm. So he sends a delegation by boat to go and present this offer to her. And they get there, and King Olga, or Queen Princess, I guess she'd be queen now, I don't know. She receives them. And they tell them, you know, "Hey, this is what our king would like, and you know, we're so sorry for killing your husband," and you know, all that bullshit, whatever dudes usually say to get in a girl's pants after they slaughter their husband. And Olga is not stupid. She's an intelligent woman, and like you said, she has Viking blood, and this kind of sets it off inside of her. You know what? Okay. So she says, "Okay, well, I can't give my answer right now, so please stay the night. You know, just stay on your boat, and in the morning we'll talk. I'll have your answer." So okay, they go back to their boat. Olga immediately gets everybody in her court to dig a huge pit, and in the morning, they go get these people from the boat, they bring them back, hey, I've got my answer for you, and they corral them, and they push them all into the pit, and in front of Olga, they bury these motherfuckers alive, and they all suffocate and die there, right? Well, Olga ain't done, and time is ticking, right? Before the Drevlonian king will figure out what's happened. So, Olga, being as cunning as she is, she sends back an emissary to the king, saying, "Hey, I want to make this. I want to answer this, and I want to accept this wedding proposal. However, the people that you've sent are just normal emissaries, and I want to do this the right way. So please send your nobles so that I can accept it formally, and we can go from there. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to answer to these peasants." And so they go, you know what, that makes sense. She's from somewhere else, and it makes sense. You know, let's send the nobles. So they send the noble class to her, and when sorry, oh my eyeball. So when they are coming, sorry, I don't want to do this on camera, but I have something. When they're coming, when they show up, Olga tells them, "Hey, you know, welcome or whatever. I want to accept this, but it's you know, like our ritual and custom for all of us to be cleaned. You know, I don't know if it had to do with Christianity or what, but basically we need to be bathed and cleaned before we." You know, before I present this decision, and you guys need to as well. You guys can use my bathhouse, my private bathhouse, to get yourselves cleaned up. You know, and then we'll get this done. So they're okay. Sounds wonderful. One by one, they disrobe and go into the bathhouse. And the second the last one is in there, they shut the doors, they block them off, and they light this wooden bathhouse on fire and burn every one of those Drevlonian nobles to the ground. Right? Olga's not done. She, like I said, time is ticking. With every single aggression that she makes, there's a chance that it's going to get back to the Drevlonian king, right? That he's going to figure it out. So she has to be as swift as possible. Like, in order for this to work, there's a violence of action that needs to be done. And this woman is fucking brilliant, and she knows that. So she immediately sends out another emissary to the king himself and says, "Hey, you know, we are your nobles made it here. We are having a great time. I'm accepting your whatchamacallit, your offer. I'm going to be traveling with my nobles and my protective guard and stuff like that back to you. We're going to come to you, and I'd like to see the place where my husband mourned. And then after that, we'll have, you know, a celebration, basically." And so the Drevlonian king, obviously, I mean, that sounds reasonable enough. So she comes back. She brings her guard. She brings some of her army as well, a large portion of it, if not all of it. And they get back to Drevlonia, I would assume. And when they get there, she goes to the place where her husband was murdered, and she mourns him. And I think during this point, she realizes, or she understands. I mean, she's already done enough, but she understands. Like, I'm gonna avenge you no matter what it takes. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a very somber moment where the Viking in her, you know, like, I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers, or I'm gonna see you in Valhalla. So she like I said, they prepared for a celebration and stuff like that. So she had brought tons of mead with her and stuff like that. So they start the celebration, and she makes sure that everybody is just having a blast, drinking as much as they can. You know what I mean? Who knows what she said about the nobles at this point? Probably that they were in they were coming behind or whatever. I have no idea. But, back then people were all too happy to get fucking hammered for a wedding. So they probably didn't ask too many questions. And so the alcohol is flowing, and everybody's having a fucking blast. And Olga gives the order for her army to descend upon these people of Drevlonia, and they start massacring everybody, slaughtering all these hammered soldiers who were out there for this wedding party and stuff like that, right? And they start taking it to them. Well, as a natural reaction, of course, the ones who weren't slaughtered instantly retreat back within the walls of their city, and the walls are shut, and this begins a siege of this city. And sieges take a long time. Siege warfare is very very difficult. They usually, I think, say that you should have like at least a 3-to-1 numbers advantage versus the people within inside the city, because by the time that you break into the city and have breached the walls, you will have lost so many of your people in that attempt that you need to make sure that you have enough to still overwhelm them. You know what I mean? So you have to assume you're going to lose a half or a third of your people in order to still even have the numbers to overwhelm them inside. So siege warfare takes a long time, and it sucks. And people end up starving. People, it's very difficult. So Olga, after this has gone on for a month, Olga has come up with a plan. She tells them, listen, this isn't going to end well for either of us. You guys are going to starve in there. My men are getting tired of doing this, so I'm going to forgive you for what you've done under one condition. I want tribute from every single house in your city, okay? And as tribute, as a sign of peace, I want a pigeon and a sparrow from each house. Pigeons, doves, stuff like that, universally known for peace, right? For the most part. And so they agree. Fucking A. Let's give her these birds. This sign of peace, and let's be done with this. So they bring her the birds from every house, and she thanks them and tells them that they will pack up their stuff and they will be gone, within a few days. And as they retreat back into the city, assuming all is going to be well, Olga commences with her final plan. She gets all of her generals, she gets all of her soldiers and stuff like that to immediately start tying sulfur on a cloth to each one of these birds' legs, right? And these birds are, I don't know what the exact word is for them, but they're creatures of habit that the way they nest and stuff like that, they will return to their nest. So she ties these strings to these birds. They light each one of them on fire and release them. And this never-ending flock of birds fly over the walls of the city. You can imagine being these people inside this city and watching these flames in the sky, right? They're not like flaming arrows. They're not arching and diving like that. They're just moving. They're flooding in different directions, right? And they're coming right for you. And then it lands on your house, and it like hops inside the rafters or up under the thatch roof or whatever it is. And you just go, motherfucker. She burnt that entire city to the ground with all of its inhabitants and slaughtered them all. And that is the story of Princess Olga of Kiev. A fucking Viking badass. And a man and a woman and a wife that every man in the world could hope would be theirs. Because that is ride or fucking die if I have ever heard it, dude. If you kill my husband, I will fucking go scorched earth on your entire fucking kingdom. Bro. That Vikings, dog. I fucking love Vikings, man, dude. Fucking. I had never heard that story. She's a badass, bro. Holy shit, dude. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If I missed anything, let me know, dude. Put it in the comments, or if you've heard more. I got some of it from Wikipedia and stuff like that, but I don't know how accurate it is. I do know what happened, for sure. So, But just write in the comments, dude. Or if you know of any other fucking badass stories, I want to try to tell a few more of them. It doesn't matter what they are. If they're Vikings, even better. You know, I like Norse shit, but yeah, put it up there. Let me know. Please, if you can, like, share, comment, follow, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thanks, guys.